Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump and today I'll be reviewing the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Library, or the SNES Library for short. And it was made by Nintendo and released for the Nintendo Switch back in 2019. Now this is basically, the library is basically a sort of like a library where you can play games for the Nintendo, for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And you've got games like A Link to the Past, Mario Bros. 3, Mario World, Yoshi's Island, Donkey Kong Country, Mario All Stars, and various other games. And I think that this is a kind of like how the NES library worked. I think that this is a really good way of having newer players or who might have played Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, some like probably Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and probably various other newer Nintendo games get to play older Nintendo games that were released back in like the 80s and 90s and that sort of stuff. And I feel like this is I think that like all the games, are really good because well, the other ones I played, like some of them I've played are really interesting and good because like you can see like how how well they are put into the library and how well they're used within the graphics that they are at the time. And also, like with the NES library, you can pick any game and just just mix and match them. So you could what I mean by this is that you can put several games in one area of the library and put other games in another part of the library. And I feel like that's good because then you can just go to the games that you can find easily, and then you can find them quicker, faster, and just see what you can do with them. And also you can, depending on which part of the game you're in, depending on which one you've chosen, you can go back several minutes before, and you can just redo a specific bit. So let's say for example in Mario Bros. 3, let's say you missed a particular item. You could then just go back 30 seconds, a minute before you got to that item, hit the item block and get the particular item, whether it was a power-up, a coin, or a secret area. And I think that's really cool. And now I'm going to be showing you how the library works. So the main setup for the SNES library is basically similar to the NES library. So you basically got a bunch of games you can get to choose from. So you've got Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Yoshi's Island, Mario World, and various other games that you can play from. So let's say I want to choose, let's say Super Metroid. It'll come up with its original title that it had back when it was originally released, and I think that's really a really cool thing because you can see how Nintendo kept everything the same in terms of how they released the library, and how they kept everything to the original. And also you can also rewind certain parts back to let's say if I want to go to, let's say, here, then I would, and I think that's really interesting. And you can go back and forth between certain areas and certain things. So yeah, so let's just play some. I'm gonna just show you how they would work. So let's say I want to play some of Super Metroid, and then okay. So let's say I want to try and find my way around, so I can do that. And then let's say I forgot something a while ago, I would then, let's say, go back to here and then just shoot like a breakable wall or something, or something like that. But obviously that's not, so going back there was a bit useless. So yeah, that's how the main thing does. And you can also go back to the main menu and just pick a different game. So let's say I want to choose A Link to the Past. I would then go into Link to the Past, and then I'll come up with that game, and I'll have its original title back when it was originally released for the SNES. So again, I really think that each game is really cool, or how like it's unique. So yeah, I'm going to show you like how A Link to the Past plays out a bit, and how that works when you compare it to like something like Super Metroid. So yeah, let's just get through this part. Yep. There we go. And so if you look at this compared to Super Metroid, even though the graphics, sort of similar but not kinda, they act very differently. So with A Link to the Past, it's more top down, whereas with Super Metroid, it's more kind of side on, kind of. It's like with because like if you look at this game, you're basically looking at Link from the top down, whereas if you look at Super Metroid, that game was kind of like seeing Metroid sort of or Samus head on. Basically like you could see Samus's entire body, and you could like go from left to right. Whereas with A Link to the Past, you can basically go in any direction, so you could like go diagonally, left, right, up, down, that sort of stuff. So I think that's been it for the gameplay, and now it's time to go back to the review. So my final verdict for the SNES library is that I think it's a really good way of bringing newer fans into like the older games and how they worked back in the day. So let's say someone was playing Breath of the Wild. They can then experience how A Link to the Past might have worked for its time, because if you look at both A Link to the Past and Breath of the Wild, even though they're in the same kind of like series and have a lot of similar things, they kind of act really differently. So like with Breath of the Wild, you can zoom in on particular enemies with bows, and you can slow down time when you're trying to hit enemies more accurately, whereas with A Link to the Past, you just go around the world in a specific order, and you just beat large bosses and just collecting various items. So I kind of like how that kind of like the difference between both games, even though they're in the same series and released years apart, they behave so differently and act so differently in terms of how their games were made, and in terms of the gameplay, in terms of how they were supposed to be played. So yeah, I think that the SNES library is a good thing to be added to the Switch. I feel like all the games are nice, and yeah, I think it's really enjoyable. So yeah, that's been my review for the SNES library. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.